In this first example, we're going to make a loop that is going to repeat a specified number of times. We're going to use a while loop with a counter variable, which we're going to check each time the loop iterates. Once we hit our end condition, the loop will no longer continue to run. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to start by initializing the counter variable that we're using to 0. We're then going to proceed to construct the loop. We'll start with the keyword while, and then we'll add our condition, which is count being less than 5. We'll use a full colon, and that ends the header portion of our loop. When we press enter, you'll notice that we're automatically tabbed in. Everything under the while that is tabbed in line is going to be repeated. So we don't have special curly braces or end while loop statements. It's just based on the presence of the tabs. So we're going to go ahead and say here, count plus equals 1. That is the same thing, same as count equals count plus 1. It's just a slightly more efficient way to say it. And then we are going to read in that word. Say word equals input, enter a word. And we have to remember to put quotes around this prompt. Okay, now if I wanted to put code after this, I would simply have to remove the indentation, and then I could put something like print loop completed. Let's go ahead and run this. Okay, enter word. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Loop completed. And you'll see that it did output this example 2 portion, but we're going to fill that in next. So let's just recap here. In this case, we have a counted loop, but we're using a while loop with an explicit counter variable, which we check each time the loop iterates to see if it is still less than 5. As soon as that becomes false, it's going to come down and execute the next line of code outside of the loop. Within the loop, we're increasing the counter and performing some kind of operation. In this case, we're just going to read in words that the user has typed. So let's go ahead and comment that. And we'll start the next example. In this next example, we're going to have the user enter a special word to indicate that they're done entering their data. This is perhaps more efficient in many cases because you don't know exactly how much the user wants to put in. So let's start off by initializing a couple of variables. The count, again, we need to initialize that to 0 if we're going to use it, or to some other starting point. And I'm also going to initialize a variable to store what has been input by the user. I need to do that because I am going to be using that as the condition of the while loop. So I'm going to say while word is not equal to, and we're going to use stop as a special value that the user can enter, which will terminate the loop. And then we're going to read that in. Oh, and we need to make sure we have that string quoted. You could use single quotes instead of double quotes if you wanted to. We are going to count how many times this runs. And we'll run this code. Okay, enter a word. 1, 2, 3. Let's say that's as much as we wanted to enter. Say stop. It says you entered 4 words. Now in this case, it is counting our word stop as one of our entries. So if you wanted the final value to not count, you would simply have to adjust your code like that. So now if we were to run it again, the word stop wouldn't count. So we've entered one word that doesn't include the special value.